wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess is on maternity leave, so Lauren LaRosa is filling in. And we got some special guests in the building.
That's right.
We got Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Welcome, fellas.
What's up, family?
Man,
How y'all feeling?
Good. Tired, but good.
Tired, but good.
Collectively known as the All the Smoke podcast.
That's right.
Their new coffee table book is out right now. All the Smoke. Man, you know, I always say, like, I know that there's a lot of athletes who do podcasts and stuff now. I don't know anybody before y'all. I feel like y'all started that whole wave. So to see y'all be the first with a coffee table book, man, that makes so much sense to me.
Man, it's been a blessing. It's been a journey. I mean, our 5-year anniversary is tomorrow.
Wow.
And if you would have told me like 5 years later we'd have a coffee table book, a whole production company, and people working underneath us, I would have been like, you're full of shit. I didn't even know what a podcast was at the time. So, you know, we are blessed to come together and find lightning in a bottle, and thankful for the opportunities, and obviously being able to partner with you and your company and be able to get this done was dope.
How did this
A
happen?
lot of people don't know that, bro. Shouts out to you. A lot of our
Yeah, for
success,
real.
you know, a lot of stuff that we have going on, you brought our way, and you thought about us even with Black Effect. So we appreciate you. A lot of people don't know that, so we gotta give you your props too.
All love, my brothers. How did this come about though? This for a podcast? Like, I know y'all was partners and
Together?
homies. Yeah.
Well, I think Jack retired maybe 1 or 2 years before me, and we both got out and we were doing ESPN and Fox and getting positive feedback, and people said we needed to do something together. And we were at my house in the Bay one time smoking, and I'm just like, you want to do a podcast? And he's like, sure, what is it? And I was like, I don't really know, but I think we can drink and smoke, because we were working at ESPN and Fox. You know, you got to kind of walk that line. So it was just a little bit more to our comfort zone, and he said, yeah. So I started doing the homework, and we landed here. We landed at Showtime.
And you interview so many people. Who are some of your favorite people that you guys have interviewed in the past?
I mean, I'm a big hip hop guy and a comedy guy. So the comedians and the rap artists like Lil Wayne, having Kevin Hart on the show, you know, been able to laugh at them. I think Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
We
Foxx.
was home during COVID. That
Pandemic.
episode, man, I think everybody needed that one. So when we had the comedians and the hip hop artists on, that's always my favorite.
I just think, you know, being like you guys, a trusted voice in the space is important. You know, for us to start with J.R. Smith and end up with Kamala Harris and Kobe's last interview, and Steph and KD and Shaq, and the list goes on. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith. I just think being a trusted voice in the space with so many voices is you know, something I pride myself on.
I think athletes didn't have a safe space before y'all, especially in NBA players, because we can't speak the language y'all speak.
No.
So it causes them to open up in a different way.
And, you know, we wear our emotions on the sleeve, and everything we've been through in life is on the table for everybody to see, and we're willing to talk about it. So I think when our guests see that, it's easy for them to open up too.
Now, Kamala was your most recent.
We did Joakim Noah after her, but yeah, Kamala was a big boy for us.
And how was that? I know you were a little reluctant a little bit at first.
Oh no, you know that. I called him. I talked to him about it. Me and Matt, we went at it for a couple of days about it.
You didn't want to do it at first?
Nah, because I really don't want to get in politics. I don't even want to be involved. And a lot of people that support me don't get involved. You know what I'm saying? I look at it the same way I look at it. But as a friend and as a brother to him, you know, anything that he asks me to do, you know, 9 out of 10 times I'm loyal to a fault. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something I don't want to do. But I know it was beneficial for our company. I know it's benefit, and I see after I did the interview, I see now I have a lot of women in my life. I have 8 aunts, 6 daughters. You know, so how it looked to them after I did the interview, I'm glad I did it now, because they all look at her and they look up to her and aspire to be great like her. So I'm glad I did it.
How did you guys prepare for her?
A lot of
Like, what's that
studying,
prep like?
a lot of smoking, a lot of
A
studying.
lot of smoking.
But I want to take it
Always
back
smoke.
before I
Go
get to
ahead.
your question. You know, when he said he didn't want it, first of all, I told him, I said, Stack, have I ever led you wrong in a business decision or life? And he said no. But, you know, when he said he didn't want to get involved with the politics, I told him, you know, I don't think that was his choice, because once he did that George Floyd thing, he put him smack dab in the middle of one of the biggest protests this world has ever seen. So a lot of things come with that. A lot of good, a lot of bad, but a lot of things come with that. And I think that he implanted himself in the middle. And I always always will respect his opinion, but I just thought this can be an opportunity he has a very loyal following, and it could have been it was an opportunity for him to, you know, get some stuff off his chest or ask straight to the face, you know, ask her straight to the face those questions. So I'm glad he decided to come around. It took him a minute, like literally. Hey, let me tell you, bro, until she came in the room, Jack wasn't fucking with it.
Oh, wow.
Right until so she came in the room, and then she took us away from the group. and took us on a walk throughout the house and started showing us this dope black art and sculptures. And Jack was still tough, like, I ain't fucking with this. I ain't fucking with this. And then he saw this one piece of art he liked, and she talked about it, and she had moved on, and I kept following, and he went and touched the art and looked at it. I was like, uh-oh, she might be getting to him. And then she showed this dope-ass chandelier, and then once she showed the chandelier and explained it, and the Jack started smiling, I was like, all right, she got him, so we were straight. So it took him a minute to warm up.
Did she know that you didn't want to do it?
She had to know.
Yeah,
She had a little bit. I think she had a little. Someone might have handed it to her. But how do we prepare? I mean, we prepare like we used to play, like watch game film. So we study. You know, we go back and do research, and then we get with our research team and find out the strategy. My strategy with this interview was, it wasn't a political interview. It was an all the smoke interview. We happened to ask a few political questions. We felt it was close to our community, but at the end of the day, we wanted to humanize her and get to know her a little better. So just kind of figuring out what was that opening question to get her laughing and smiling, and you know, found out the story about the blind date with her now husband, Doug. And as soon as we asked that, she started smiling from ear to ear. And we knew that we kind of got her to open, you know, put her guard down a little bit. And it was a fun interview.
The biracial question and the question about the blended family killed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, it connected with her. She there's no script for that.
Nah.
You know, you can't go to your talking points for that. You just got to be honest.
You got to be sure. And that's what we wanted. You know, Charlamagne, we've been lucky to humanize and make our guests feel comfortable to really share their true opinions. And biracial and step parents we both are, but biracial is something that I've, you know, fought with and dealt with really my entire career. And now that this is at the forefront of her campaign, I just thought it would be a great talking point.
That's what I was telling Jack too. I'm like, yo, if not you, then who? Because, you know, if you got an opinion about these elected officials and you've been expressing it, express it to her.
But I also think, too, I mean, she could have went to any podcast.
That's right.
There's a ton, like you said, there's a ton of them.
But I love the fact that she came in. I said that the other day on the radio. I was like, you know, she needs to do where people are going. And sometimes these politicians go to places where we don't necessarily go to. And I want to see her do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
What were the conversations with her, like, off of the air? Like, was there things that y'all talk about off air where you like, dang?
I asked her if she, you know, because I knew that the vice president house was probably stiff and white for a lot of years. So I asked her if she added her touch to it, and that's when we got to kind of started talking about the art and stuff she's done to the house to kind of put her energy around it. What else? We talked about, actually, I feel like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the podcast, and I think we caught some of it. Just it was a back and forth. And do you remember what we was talking about at the very end?
We was talking about what she asked about Gianna. We talked about the Warriors and being there. You know, when we played. Yeah. We believe time.
Did y'all smoke before y'all got there?
I did.
Oh, of course. I'm high now.
It was too presidential to be able to try to sneak it in and get one off. And we was representing a lot of people, so we didn't want to get in trouble. But yeah, definitely we pre-gamed.
You know, that was one of them smoke shower, you know.
In the shower, It got the steam, so don't mess with the hotel room.
Smelling like.
You still got aspirations to run for office, Matt?
Oh, man, I did, man. I said that at like early 30s. And, you know, I started shadowing Kevin Johnson, who was the current mayor at the time. Then I worked with Darryl Steinberg a little bit. And, you know, I said it at 50. I'm 44 now. So we'll see. I mean, I year by year, I get more engaged and learn more and try to understand the process. So if my business affairs are in order by the time I'm 50, I may, you know, chase that down.
What do you say to people who say that people in sports shouldn't talk about stuff like politics? Like they should just.
Well, I just feel like we're affected by everything. You know what I mean? Just because we played a certain sport, I mean, we're fathers, we're business owners, you know, we're in the community, we're tied to everything. So, I mean, I respect people whether they want to be in it or not, but you know, my whole thing with people is kind of learn the process. So if you're going to be mad, at least you know what the fuck you're mad at. You know, a lot of people are mad at lies and mad at misconceptions. So my whole thing is learn the process and understand the process and how things, the pecking order and the actual the power that the president and the vice president don't really have. You know, understanding Congress and the House and the Senate. And then if you still want to be mad, be mad. But I think just a lot of people are headline readers and they want to get mad at bullshit. So to me, if you want to be mad, like learn it and then find something to be mad at.
For me, I think it's just really common sense what we need and what we need to do. It ain't rocket science. So I'm not in the hope dealing. You know what I'm saying? We all know what we need. We all what we need to stop doing and to change to get America, you know, everybody having equality. And we will act like everything else need to be done besides the common sense shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't want to be in politics.
Well, you ever surprised, you know, because kind of like the Breakfast Club, our clips live on and you always see them, but I see the same thing with your clips. It could be something that y'all did 4 years ago. Are you ever surprised how long your clips go and how people recognize you from the podcast and not from the playing days?
That goes back to, the loyal fan base. That's why we do it. A lot of stuff we do is for the fans, but we got a loyal fan base that's been rocking with us since we've been playing. You know what I mean? So to see our stuff resurfacing and we not the ones reposting it, that mean a lot. You know what I'm saying? That means we're going in the right direction.
Definitely.
Y'all had the last conversation with Kobe Bryant, the last interview with Kobe Bryant, and I always wondered, was that the last time either one of y'all actually spoke to him before he passed?
That was the first and last time I spoke to him since we played against each other.
Wow. I know, Matt, y'all had a relationship.
Yeah, we would see each other a little bit more because he was coaching Gigi and I was coaching the Twins. So we had talked maybe one time after that, and then he had sent some shoes literally the week. I think he passed on a Sunday. He sent shoes that previous Monday to the Twins and their whole team. So they had just got fresh Kobe. So we had spoke, and then obviously, like I said, he sent some shoes the week of the pass. So it was tough, man.
What stands out from that conversation? I mean, y'all have it in the All the Smoke coffee table book, but what stands out from that conversation, just from that day?
I think the pre-conversation, we went into his office and how adamant he was of people.
The whole ride there, though.
Oh yeah, we did some shit on the ride, right?
The whole ride there, we was like
never even got
kids,
to put that out, right?
We never put that out.
That was crazy. We had a dope ride. We filmed and talked a lot of shit. But I think
With y'all three?
Nah, the anticipation of.
Because we had to go out there. We went out
Gotcha.
to go see him. So we left from L.A. to Orange County like an hour and a half drive, depending on when you drive. But
How many blunts is that?
One, maybe two.
Okay.
Yeah, not too much. But we had a conversation in his office before we actually got on camera, and he was really adamant about this next 20 years and for the world to be prepared for what he was doing in business. He was just finishing writing one of the children novels he was working on, and he's just like, fellas, like, I don't want people to remember me for my last 20 years. I want them to remember me for my next 20 years. He had the fund and had won Emmys and doing all kinds of stuff in the business space, and obviously really saw – when I got to see him coach Gigi and just he didn't never showed a ton of joy, but you can just tell he loved it. I mean, he had these little girls running the triangle offense, which takes grown men a long time to learn. He had these girls practicing 4 or 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. Like, the thing about Kobe was he didn't take nothing light when it came to basketball. So these were little young girls, but they were running the Lakers offense to a T. He was like a drill sergeant with it, but you could tell he loved it. All those little girls loved him and looked up to him, and just the passion behind that was beautiful to see.
For me, I think meeting him as a teenager and seeing him grow into the icon he was, I just admired that. With so many players and basketball players you come across doing AAU and traveling, coming up as a teenager, you see so many people that's supposed to be great that don't live up to it. You know what I'm saying? He lived up to it and exceeded it. So, just to be able to sit there to talk to him after our careers, you know what I mean, and go through the memories, you know what I'm saying, then, before he passed, that meant everything to me. Yeah.
Was Kobe a scooper or a scorer?
He was definitely a hooper.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a dog on both ends. Definitely a dog. Not even close. Probably the mascot of a hooper.
People got mad at you when you said that, but I don't even play ball and understood what you were saying.
Yeah, because a lot of those people who got mad are the ones I was talking to. People only get mad when they're guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? Or when the shoe fits. It's a lot of guys that came in the NBA where their job was just to score. They didn't compete on both ends. A lot of them didn't give that effort, and that's just the facts.
I just seen the video again yesterday of you and Kobe going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you mentioned that was the thing that came to my mind. Like, I coach kids now, and there become kids that come to me at the AAU tournament that weren't even born. You did that to Kobe.
You did that to Kobe, but they didn't even see the minutes before that.
Yeah, no, we was going at it, and it was funny. In that last interview, we talked. I was ready to fight him. Kobe.
What stopped you from swinging on him? Because he would elbow to your stomach. He was pushing you. It got to the point one time I was like,
you got to respect for certain people where they won't do that either. They know, you know what I'm saying? You'll go to that point, and there's some people that you don't even know, they'll go to the point and they'll know I'll knock you out. But Kobe, like, that's just competition. It ain't personal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it was personal that day, though.
It looked like you wanted. It looked like he was a second, one more.
Because, I mean, obviously, we all know how great he was as just a player, but he was mentally, too. So, like you said, all the elbowing and shit that the refs claim they don't see or don't want to see. Like, I was tired of that shit. You know what I mean? And I keep getting called fouls for retaliating. So, I'm like, fuck this, man.
But that's how y'all got cool, though. He said, if anybody crazy enough to mess with me like this, I want him on my team.
He called me that. So I was actually, my deal was up in Orlando, and this is when Bron and Bosh were going to Miami. So I was talking to Pat Riley and even D. Wade on the phone one time, and Pat was telling me about the lineups and the championships we can win. And I got a cold call from a number I didn't even know and happened to pick it up, and it was him. And we talked a little bit, and I congratulated them about winning and asked what I was doing. He said what you said. And he's just like, you want to be a Laker? I'm like, hell yeah. And like 3 days later, I was a Laker.
Wow.
What do you think about the Lakers now? We see Bronny play the last 2 games, and people are on Bronny's ass.
And
right
that's a
now.
beautiful. I showed him the picture when we got in the car. We saw the picture. That's the dopest picture ever. When he helping his dad up, that's the dopest shit ever. Whoever hating, die.
Yeah,
Like,
I think if
that's
anyone
crazy.
deserves this opportunity to play with his son, I think it's him. You know what I mean? And the fact that whole thing was orchestrated for him to get to the Lakers is amazing. And I had a moment this past summer because my twins are 15 now, so I take them and play against grown men. And I remember one time, me and the twins were on the same team playing, and we was hooping. I'm just like, man, this is so dope. I couldn't imagine this on the highest level. So to me, I don't give a fuck. I mean, the kid was a 55th pick. Normally, the 55th pick doesn't even make it. So all these crazy expectations for him early are ridiculous. Like, allow him to develop. But, you know, we don't live in a world where development is allowed, especially on the highest level. So I think from a father-son aspect, it's incredible. But, you know, the Lakers are one of those teams where you got to produce. What have you done for me lately? And they haven't necessarily done that. So it's going to be interesting, you know, scrutinized year, I think.
We were talking about that earlier. Do you think that Bronny will actually have the chance to develop, or you feel like people are going to pigeonhole him so much that it might
I
get
think
to
he has
him?
even more of a chance to develop because his father's there. Like, that's the motivation he have, and he's seen what it takes to be great. So all that is in him already, and now he's in the facilities where you have everything here to be great. I think he has everything he needs, and I think he's definitely going to blossom over
And
there.
I also think, too, I mean, I don't think you look at Bronny in the same light as you look at LeBron.
That's what I
LeBron
said earlier. You
was
can't
different.
don't compare him
People
to
try
LeBron.
to, though.
Just compare him to other
People
NBA
try.
players.
I think he's going to be a very solid role player. I mean, he's got a
Great defender.
high IQ, plays defense, can make the right play, can shoot the ball. So I just think he needed a little bit more time to develop, and now he's developing on the biggest stage. But I think, you know,
He's a
2,
pro.
3, 4 years, he's going to be a very solid rotational player.
Does he start in the G League, or do you think there's no G League for him?
I think he should. To me, it's about playing. And I play with JJ, and I fuck with JJ heavy. I think he's going to be on the hot seat. But I like his mentality. He's he teaches. He's a personable person. So for all the people say no to, like, the most important thing is getting to play. You don't learn shit from sitting on the bench and watching. So Bronny has to play. So whether that's going to be 8 to 10 minutes in the real game or if it's going to be 30 minutes on the G League level, I think he just needs to play, and I think they'll figure that out.
You can't simulate the NBA in the G League, though. You got to play in the NBA to understand the NBA pace and game. The G League is totally different.
But you just have to play, though.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean,
like
it can get
sitting
you ready, but
there,
in order to be
it's
successful
it's night and day.
But to be successful
Yeah.
and to make a name for yourself in the NBA,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to play that game.
Yeah, no doubt.
What would be considered success for Bronny?
A 15, 14-year career, a long
Okay.
career, you know, in the NBA. I mean, I would say we not expecting him to score 50,000 points. You know what I'm saying? We expect him to be a star and possibly be an all-star one day.
I got to ask, you know, since we are in New York just made a trade that sent Cat here. What were your thoughts on that trade?
Wonderful. I know y'all happy.
Yeah, we got to sell him.
I
We got
mean,
a big man.
I love Julius Randle, but I'll take Cat over him any day. You know, and Cat is way more durable.
We lose a shooter, though.
You lose
Vincenzo
a
was
shooter,
on fire.
but he does way more than just shoot. Cat, he does, and then the East too. I think a big guy like that can spread the floor on this team. I think
And
it was good for y'all.
him and Embiid go at it too. Didn't they scrap one
Yeah,
time?
it's gonna be good for y'all.
I'm a dog. I like dogs. So obviously, seeing DiVincenzo and Julius Randle leave, you know, I kind of like, you know what I mean? Because I really
That's what I
feel
meant.
like,
Shooter. When DiVincenzo was the shooter.
Yeah, they're trying to put something together. They put the whole.
Talking about DiVincenzo. Come on now.
No. I mean, we got Cat, but we lose. We ain't got no spot up shooter.
You
Like,
can replace that. Come on, man.
got it,
Come on, man.
got it.
Replace that, man. Come on, man. You can replace that, man. Come on, man. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Hold on, DiVincenzo hit
Let's not do
if
it.
I'm not
He
mistaken,
nice.
he hit the most threes in Knicks history.
Yes.
I get that.
283
Yes.
threes.
and
or
helped us
something.
out last year when
he
all
was
of our
huge.
people were injured. But
Yeah,
I
now he's
get
a
it.
very solid role player. Definitely, I definitely
But the
feel
Knicks
like
got
he's
Mikal
gonna be missed.
Bridges now. They
Yeah, we got
got
Mikal
some good
Bridges.
pieces.
Yeah,
Brought in
I
Bridges.
get it.
So I think Cat's really going to help this team if he's 3-level Cat, not just staying outside and shooting jumpers all day. And I think this fan base won't allow some of the stuff he was doing in Minnesota where he would settle a lot because he is so skilled and talented and can score on all 3 levels and is a real problem. But I think sometimes he settles. But I think he's coming into a situation that's not only good for him, but you know, his fiance or his girl, because, you know, she's kind of into things too. So being in this media market is going to be very beneficial for him if he attacks it the right way, I feel like.
Isn't his family from?
Yeah, he from Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Way
So
back
going
at the
back
crib
home.
then,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep.
Yeah, man, I wish both sides good luck. I'm interested to see, too, how Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle get along because that's 2 dogs right there. So it's interesting to see how their chemistry works.
You know what I wanted to ask you about, Jack? The Malice in the Palace doc, right?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't realize how much that situation impacted y'all. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, yes, y'all could have won a chip that year.
I think that was the year for us to win the chip. If you look when the brawl happened, we probably had the second or best record in the league when that happened, and we was blowing everybody out. And I think we all knew that was Reggie's last hurrah, you know, and we wanted to win it for him. But like you said, it wasn't the same. I missed 2 or 3 All-Star games because of that. Jermaine was a shoe-in Hall of Famer around that time till that happened, and Ron was possibly the first, you know, can win defensive player and office in MVP in the same year. So all those things were working for us, and that one incident killed everything.
And it didn't seem like it brought y'all together. Not all of y'all.
It didn't, because everybody didn't do it for loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wasn't in that situation for loyalty. Some people was in it because they was there. You know what I mean? I actually rode with my teammate for being a good teammate. A lot of guys were just in there doing stuff that wasn't necessary, you know? And it cost us that season.
How many times did that happen to you in your life, Jack? Well, you just, I don't give a fuck. This is my guy. We going at you going to war. I'm going to war.
I'm loyal to a fault. But you know what I'm saying? But like, I can sleep that way. You know what I'm saying? If we go somewhere right now, so I'm gonna be the first one to jump out there. That's just how I was taught. That's how I was raised. But you know, as you get older, you get smarter.
Is that one of the things that you regret that season, like how all of that played out?
Yeah, I regret it because, you know, I consider myself a real good basketball player, and I missed a lot of All-Star games like accolades because of that. You know, even when I had great seasons, that still was a cloud over my great playing, and it hurted Ron too and Jermaine. So it definitely wasn't beneficial for none of us.
Was it tough to do that, Doc? Like just to sit there and have to relive all of that?
Well, I mean, it was the reason why it wasn't tough because it was gratifying for getting some money for talking about it. We lost so much for the one punch. Like, let me get some money back for talking about it.
You threw more than one punch.
I threw 2.
That's it?
Yep. See, I'm glad you said that. we can clear this up right now.
We cleared out a whole row.
We clear this up right now.
Well, his arms are long.
This is why I said I shouldn't have got fined. When it all happened, I jumped up and went over the stanchion. I went 6 rows up. Didn't hit nobody. Got to Ron. Yeah. A beer was thrown in his face. The second time, and that's the guy I hit. When I turned around, a guy was holding Ron, punching him. I hit him. If I was just wanted to be stupid, I could have hit everybody those 6 rows up. But I went to protect him, so I wasn't really on no idiot stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was just being a protector, but it just turned out to look that way.
Where?
So if you look at it, I could have hit a whole bunch of people. I didn't.
Them hands didn't get as loose as they could have.
Nah, hell nah. and they nice now.
How's it been watching the evolution of marijuana in the NBA?
Oh, it's beautiful. I think we don't get enough credit for it.
Nah, for real.
You know, because to be able to play in the NBA now and not get tested, like, you don't know what we went through.
That was a full job.
We was paying people and all kind of drinking all kind of stuff just to
diluting the pee and all kinds of
doing
stuff.
all kind of stuff just to be able to smoke. So now they can, do it freely. I mean, I know a lot of guys that might not talk about it publicly, but I know they appreciate, being able to smoke and relax after the game the right way without taking all them pills and shit.
I think, when I retired in 2017, that was one of my main focuses, is being the shield for the current guys. And, myself and our brother Al Harrington were flying out here to New York to talk to the Players Association and the league and just understanding the plant, study the plant until they both got, people on both sides to start studying it. And from what I heard, that the NBA was really against it still. The PA was more for it, and they had to come to a common ground. And they ended up doing that, obviously in the bubble when with the COVID hit and they gave the players time off and then they brought everyone back to the bubble. If they would have tested that, probably 85% of the league would have failed because guys were off, didn't know if the season was going to come or not, and a majority of the guys, medicated. So, I think that was a very smart move for them to go ahead and bypass it there, and then after that, it was gone. So, I think I say all that to say it was tough smoking our entire career because it was, every time we did it, we were risking fines or suspensions. So it was a real job to smoke in the league. And now, like Jack said, just to be able to freely do it, to relax, go to sleep, focus, anti-inflammatory, all the properties for it. I think I'm happy for those guys.
Were y'all trying to have the conversations then though? Like, yo, this is what's helping us? Like, or you couldn't even have the conversation?
Not really.
You can't do it, all right.
Yeah.
We did anyway.
The conversations needed to happen, but I think my conversation when I started talking was after the fact.
Gotcha.
Because it was just
After
like
retirement.
they didn't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? It was something you couldn't do. You know what I mean? So I think as the world progressed and we started getting, research behind the positives instead of just the negatives, I think that's when the game started to change.
Could you physically play high? Because I be reading these stories about Michael and them, how they used to be drinking Budweiser and going to drop 50.
I smoked before I played.
I just smoked exactly before the game, but that day early in the morning I probably did, but not going to the game. I didn't came down. But like going to the game fresh off one, absolutely not. Not in the NBA, you getting cooked.
Yeah, I know a couple dudes that smoked driving into the gym. We won't say them names, but they was different. So I mean, I could smoke, a few hours before, but I wouldn't smoke on the way to the game. One, because I didn't want to smell like it around everybody, but two, it's just like depending on what you're smoking, you putting yourself out there in the atmosphere sometimes. So
I was geeked up in the Western Conference Finals though.
Well,
Yes, lighting their ass up. Yeah, against Dallas, I was geeked up.
Were you smoke before the game?
I smoked right after shoot around like 3 hours before the game, and I didn't go to sleep, so I was just geeked up during the game. Like certain times you don't take that nap, you loaded. Mm-hmm. And I did in the West Conference Finals because I was from Texas. I was just feeling good at the time and went to work. So it worked for me.
What was the process of putting this book together? Like, how did y'all choose which conversations to put in there?
Shout out Dylan.
Shout out him too in his publishing company.
Obviously, you and the company, and then Dylan just understanding, where the caliber of guests we had and the different topics we spoke on. Again, there's a ton of people in this space now as far as sports, but I don't look at it as competition. I think everyone had their own journey, their own voice, and their own experiences, and I think we still think with all the conversations we had, our conversations are still different from everybody else's. So just important, family, mental health, everything that comes along in this journey, and we've been able to transition from not just a sports show to just kind of a more of a culturally relevant show, where we're talking to the Kevins and the Wills and the Jadas and the Jamies and the VPs. So I just think, high level conversations with high level people and, being able to be celebrated with that. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we're the first podcast with the coffee table book, man. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We're very thankful for it and hope that everyone checks it out.
I named a couple of names. I want you to tell me what y'all thought of the interviews. Don Staley.
Well, a lot of people don't know that's when I've been with my favorite female player of all time. Mm-hmm. My rookie year, I wore 24 because of Don Staley. People don't know that. Yeah, and when I was in New Jersey, so it was an honor to me to be able to talk to her. I never met her in person, so I can't wait to actually take a picture with her. But somebody I admire for a long time.
That's different. Like, what about her? I've never heard a guy say a woman basketball player influenced me like that. Like, what about her influenced you?
Well, her whole swag. Like she had that rough park basketball style, and she was one of the first females to bring it like AI. She wore baggy shorts. She did it her way. She talked the talk, walked the walk, and you didn't see that from a woman in basketball growing up. And then she was at a school that was a female school that was always on TV. Their basketball game was always on TV, so that's what we seen. So that's what I seen a lot.
No, same. I mean, just being a fan of her game and then how she's been able to transition and be a leader of young women and women, I'm always a big fan of that. So, being able to get to talk to her, and to me, honestly, and I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way, like we're fans of a majority of the people we talk to and getting a chance to get that in-depth, to be able to peel back the layers and understand who they are as a person and how their upbringing brought them to be the people they are. I mean, that's always the joy and the journey of these conversations for me.
What about the Jamie Foxx convo that happened during COVID?
Yo, we laughed so hard before we even got on air, bro. It was incredible. He was funny as hell. Jamie's great. I mean, to me, Jamie's one of the most talented people this planet's ever seen. His versatility across several different fronts is amazing, on top of him just being a really good dude, man. So that was a dope conversation.
You have a lot of comedians that's funny when they're doing their work, but a lot of them, some of them ain't naturally funny. You know what I'm saying? Jamie's just naturally funny. And like you said, for like 45 minutes before we even turned the camera on, like he was in rare form. Like he was excited to be on the show as well. So that was one of the best ones.
Jack, you've dealt with a lot of grief over the last few years. Of course, George Floyd, your brother, your sister. How have you been dealing with that level of grief?
Support system. These guys, my mom and sister. It's been hard, but it's a part of life, bro. Too much is given, much is required. We all. I'm not going through nothing that half of y'all haven't been through, but it gets to a point where when it's somebody like your sister and brother, like that's different. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different. So I haven't been the same, but it's a day-by-day process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
How did you guys know it was time to? You talk a lot about transition. That it was time to transition and like lean into like, okay, the podcast, the merch, like just the business side of things. Like, was that a switch? It probably was planned, but when did you know? Like, okay, it's time to jump the fence now.
Man, the reason why I left the NBA the first year of a 3-year deal. I happened to win a championship with Golden State, and I wasn't getting a chance
paid
to
2 years
see.
after you got playing.
I wasn't getting a chance to see my kids. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a perfect storm. We won a championship, and I was ready to move. So I was just kind of excited, and I think sometimes why athletes have a hard time transitioning because they don't get to leave on their own accord.
Right.
Most of the time it's injuries or a reputation or just teams don't want to fuck with you no more. But, I was someone that just, I was in the midst of a contract and I'm just like, man, this was a blessing. We won. I'm missing so much time with my sons. I'm a father first. So, that was my transitioning reason. And then once I transitioned, I'm like, damn, what's next? I had invested well and, had some things moving, but I knew I still needed to find something to do. And, media came knocking for both of us. And, we kind of ran with it. So, Jack is the kind of guy that, he trusts very few. So if you're in his trust circle, he's going to listen to you. And when I pitched him my idea, he trusted me to run with it and make it happen. And, that's what I was able to do.
I feel like even with sports networks, y'all was before y'all time on that too. It seemed like when y'all was on there, they didn't want y'all to talk so freely.
No.
Especially you, Jack. They didn't want you.
Well, and you know
it seemed like everybody could talk freely now, but it seemed like they didn't want you to talk
because we
freely.
did it anyway. We did it anyway. Shout out to Woes, but I remember I was the first one to correct him on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, people like, damn, he correcting Rose? Yeah, because I got Jimmy Butler right on speed dial. Y'all making stuff up. So, like, we just being who we naturally are. You know what I mean? And I think that's what kind of took over when we was on TV and we did these shows. We, not too many basketball players come up here and speak like that. And we was just being our natural self. We wasn't acting or putting on, on camera then going off being somebody else. We the same person on and off camera.
And I think, too, a big thing was, Stephen A. Smith, and whether you hate him or love him, I like Stephen A. Smith, and he's been instrumental in kind of my journey. We talk often, but he was really big on stay off the weed and used to say that shit all the time until I called him on it. And he listened to me. I called him out on social media after I seen it one too many times, and then I'm on First Take, right at the docks, talking about weed on ESPN. Like, no one had ever done that before. No athlete had ever done that before. So I think to Jack's point, it's just, having real conversations, and I think people are always going to respect that. And I remember a ton of times, and I was working for Fox and ESPN at the time where, there's certain, well, this is the topic, do you want to say this? I'm like, no, I don't want to say that. I wouldn't say that. I don't talk like that. This is how I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? So, obviously I enjoyed my time at both networks, and it kept my name fresh and allowed other opportunities to happen. But, it's a little different walking on that side of media than it is on the media side that we landed on.
Are any of those networks getting it right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think,
All Smoke Productions getting it right.
Yeah. Right. I think there will always be those big engines, but I don't necessarily think you need them anymore. You know what I mean? The digital switch is on, the athlete-driven content is on, and entertainer, like, everyone is experts that are now talking about it. Before, it was other people always talking about what they saw, whether it be critics in music, television, film, or sports, but now you actually have the people talking about it. So again, I think there will always be the big ESPNs and Foxes and all that kind of stuff, but you don't necessarily need it anymore to get your point across, to have a platform, or to go viral.
All right.
I want to ask some basketball questions before y'all get up out of here. Klay Thompson, what you think about him leaving the Warriors, and do you think it was time for him to go?
I think it's a breath of fresh air for him. Some guys need that during their career. You know what I mean? You played at a certain spot for so long. It's a bad feeling about it. I ain't won the last couple of years, so a lot of times they're going to try to find somebody to blame it on. And it fell on Klay. You know what I'm saying? Which is unfortunate, because he's the reason why they have a big part, why they have all those championships over there. But this is how professional sports goes. Yeah, this is how it goes. And I think it's great for him, because he's landed in a spot where he can do what he do best with two of the best one-on-one players ever in Kyrie and Lugo. He can spot up and shoot jumpers. So I think it's a great situation for him, because I've been in a situation where I was somewhere and I needed to go to a different team to flourish and be a better player when I came to Golden State. So that's kind of the same for him.
Is Klay a hooper or a scorer?
Klay is a hooper.
Okay.
Yeah, he play on both ends.
D Rose retiring.
Oh man, hurt my soul.
Where's the farewell tour? Where's the he deserves all that for me. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys, bro.
I think too, obviously as great as we saw, the injury slowed him down, but everything we're hearing from is he, as great as a player was, he's a better person. And, that's always something that's important to us. Definitely looking forward to sitting down with him one day. But I just think his impact on the game, how pure and real he was, will, definitely be noted. But, one of the greatest, I hate to say what ifs, because obviously he gave us a lot while he was here and was the youngest MVP of all time. But I couldn't imagine seeing him be able to stay who he was and get older, and how much his game would have grown and developed. I think we missed out on something really special with him.
He never did all the smoke, huh?
Not yet.
But what touches to his character that I admire, how he got his wife and his kid's mother to get along and co-parent, how they do it. Like, they are mascots for that, because they do it the right way. So salute to him for that.
Who put a scorer? D Rose.
He's what?
Is he a hooper or a scorer?
D Rose. Good question. D Rose a hooper. I done seen a lot of chase down blocks. He competes on both ends. Yeah, he's a hooper. He's a hooper. He's a hooper.
Who's the face of the league when LeBron leaves? Who's and Steph leaves? Who's the next face of the league? I should say.
I think it might be by committee. I think Anthony Edwards is
It
one
ain't
of
gonna be
them.
one face like Bron.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I think it'd be by committee. I think it'll be Ant. I think it could be a little bit of Jason Tatum. I think it could be some Luca. I think it could be some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Ja, if he get his mind right.
Victor Wembanyama. I think there's a lot of. I think the league is in a great place as far as just young talent. Like we haven't seen in a long time. But it's funny you said that because I wish people would just appreciate the journey more. We're coming to the end of Bron and Steph and Katie and what they've done and what they've meant for this game, and still all the criticism and hate they get is just crazy. You know what I mean? Because one day they're going to be here, but they're not going to be in the game anymore. And people can be like, damn, I miss them.
I miss that.
And instead, they're too busy trying to criticize and talk shit about Bronny and Katie's this and Steph can't do that, instead of just kind of enjoying what they've been able to, to bless the world with.
WNBA. What are your thoughts this year? What a new excitement, new life. It sometimes, I ain't gonna front, it feels better than the NBA. What's your thoughts on WNBA? Caitlin Clark injuries.
Just the women's game is pure, man. You know what I'm saying? They all play it the right way. You know, it's refreshing to watch. It's good to see them start to get their money and get the attention that they deserve. I'm a hooper, so I'm all for, anybody that's hooping, that's putting in that work, what I'm saying, that's grinded all these years to get to the top. I'm happy that they're getting their just due.
I think the growth of the game is tremendous. The fact that we're talking about it and seeing it on ESPN and all the highlights and we're doing a piece that I'm excited about on Andrew Reese and Caitlin Clark and just their dynamic that they brought to the game and the vehicle of new fans they brought. And you've heard kind of some of the good and the bad that have come with that. Angel spoke out on just the negativity and the racism that have come from some fans and kind of using them. But
is that normal, though? Because, it seems like that's normal in the league. I'm sure that you guys have been called a million and one names.
Absolutely.
You get into a fight.
Utah, Boston.
You played in Indiana, man. Like, what you talking?
In Utah, remember?
Yeah.
I just got into trouble in Indiana.
That's back when you still had the space between your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude had a cardboard cutout under the goal with me in a jail suit.
Oh,
no.
During the game.
That shit was funny.
Nothing.
That
He
shit
had
was
that the
funny.
whole game.
It was funny, too. We was all laughing, though.
We signed it for him and all
Yeah,
that.
no, but I think the growth of the game is tremendous. I think it's going to continue to grow. It's got new eyeballs and new sponsorship and new money, and, we just want to continue to celebrate them. I think it's been such a hit or miss with that, but just kind of understanding the lineage and where they are after 28 years. It's arguably ahead of schedule of where the NBA was at year 28. So, again, I think the impact of these new young stars have brought a lot more eyeballs and attention. I hope they continue to carry it. You got Juju coming down the pipeline, who's a monster.
Paige.
Yeah. So I think that league is going to continue to grow and flourish and give something a lot of little girls, something to look up to. You got to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? So you see that. You see Kamala running for presidency. I mean, young girls are, it's a great time to look up and see all the greatness ahead of them.
Can Ja bounce back? Y'all had a great
Yes.
all the smoke with Ja Morant.
Hell yeah.
Can he bounce back?
I mean, of course he can. I mean, that was the whole thing when it happened. I was saying, like, people act like you can't make mistakes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens. Everybody makes mistakes. They just don't make them on a level for everybody to see. So he definitely could bounce back, and I think he will. I just think it's going to take him to make some decisions too about the people he's around, because I've made the same mistake too. That's what I'm saying. We make those mistakes because we feel we got to keep it real and all that at one point, but you got to get to the point where you're keeping it right. You know what I'm saying? I think he's there now.
They don't let kids fuck up no more. Like, y'all wouldn't be
They
where
don't let
y'all
black
are right
kids.
now.
They don't let black kids.
Right, black
fuck up.
kids, right.
Yeah.
Well, I just think, too, you got to think when we were fucking up, coming up, there wasn't cameras on us constantly.
That's right.
We could fuck up. I remember the stuff I was doing in UCLA. I probably would have never made the NBA if I had cameras in my face. And then, the early days in Golden State where we're out every single night drinking and smoking in every single city and fighting and doing God knows what. There was no cameras. You know what I mean? So as long as you could show up and play the game the next day, there wasn't an issue. But now everywhere you move, whether you're filming yourself or other people are filming you, there's cameras on you. So you just got to be cognizant of that.
That's funny because you would hear that. You'd hear you'd be like, man, Matt Barnes be fucking people up. You be like, Matt Barnes? Like, Matt Barnes? Like, go back, Matt Barnes.
Hey, I don't know the same Matt Barnes. I don't know.
We used to get down a little bit. That was it. Back in my early days.
Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us, man. You got another one?
I did, but I forgot it.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about John Morant. What's the biggest thing that you repeat all the time to the young players when they call y'all for real life advice, like a John Morant?
Me now is control your own narrative.
Right.
That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because during your career, they can post certain things on TV, and then a lot of times the media for the team will tell you not to reply or not give you the platform to reply to get what they're saying about you correct. Right? So now they're in a position where they have their phones, they have their social medias, use it the right way and control your own narrative. Whatever the media try to say something about you or try to say you said something to the team or accounts or something, you can clear it all up on your page or your own social media so they can hear from the horse's mouth. So control your own narrative.
I think that's important too. And then I got 15-year-old sons that are coming down the pipeline, and just for these young players to understand that they're brands already.
Wow.
Like you are a walking brand as you speak. And to refer back to the young ladies, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they had bigger brands, arguably, than what the WNBA was at the time they came into it. You know what I mean? So understand your brand power, and then what Jay said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business. And understand that you're really a business everywhere you move. And you just have to, unfortunately, like you said, there's nowhere room to fuck up because there's so many cameras on you. So just understand every move you make and everything you say can affect your brand.
There was speaking of your kids, you talked a lot about your kid. There was a video last year in November that went viral of you and Derek Fisher coaching the twins together. That video was I think the world was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The world?
Yeah.
Me?
I
was there, I'm like, hold up.
Jack wasn't having it.
I remember 2015, everything before that, right? What was it like getting to that point where now we on the court? It's important to do it, but what was that like?
People don't understand that me and Fish squashed that shit the summer after it happened. Like that shit happened at the beginning of one season, and then the next summer, once I found out he was around and then twins cared about him, like we squashed it because it wasn't about my ex and I no more. It was about trying to raise these young men. So Fish has been in the boys' life for almost half their life. You know what I mean? So we've always been, and I was real enough to sit down and have a conversation with them like, bro, I'm still playing, so you're going to see my kids more than me. I need you to teach them the ropes while I'm not around. So to me, once I got over and once we talked about how I didn't agree with the move and it could have went a different way, like it wasn't about saving that. It was about harvesting, and we got to raise two young black men. So, I mean, I think he's done a great job. I tip my hat to him all the time. I mean, he's their second dad, and I coach him in the summer during AAU, and he coaches them during high school. So, I mean, when people see us, they still kind of trip out. But, like, our beef was for a season. It wasn't even that long.
Love that for y'all.
Yeah.
It's easy to squash beef when you win the fight. How you been?
See how you try to throw it back up? You see how you try to throw it back up? Don't even answer,
Tell him that 90 miles is a long time ago.
Go with the merch. Go with the merch.
All the smoke,
right.
Matt Ball, Steven Jackson, we appreciate you.
Y'all got some shows, right?
Live show today.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, wherever this drops. Yeah.
Philly. So Philly's the bar?
The 9th.
So
Philly's the 9th. So
okay.
tonight in New York, the 7th in New York tonight. So they may miss it, but tonight in New York, if you're around Gramercy Theater, we got the one and only Larry Johnson.
Grandmama.
And then in Philly, we're Wednesday night. We're with $1 million worth of game and a really special guest coming through with them, man. So we're excited to be on the East Coast.
Jim Jones, Davies, all of them said they was pulling up, so I'm looking to see y'all.
We're gonna see.
Is it gonna be AI in Philly?
How'd you know? We're gonna see.
Is that real?
We're gonna see.
That's happening?
We're gonna see.
I saw Paul George.
So Paul just hit me yesterday and said he couldn't come.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
But is it? Because I'll come to Philly for that.
Yeah, we scrambled. Yeah, we as long as we get him up on the airplane, he'll be here.
That's probably my favorite.
Come to Philly for that.
The AI, all the smoke conversation is probably my favorite AI
That
conversation.
was it was deep, and he's different. And for him to I don't think people understand how passionate, how much he loves life, and how much he loves people. You know what I mean? And we try to tell him all the time, bro. Like, you got to talk. Like, people love you to death, and they just want to know how you are. They want to know what you think. And so we're slowly getting him to hopefully sitting down and having his own thing one day.
Don't nobody admire him more than we do.
Yeah, that's
How'd y'all get so close, Jack? Y'all real close.
I played with Chuck.
With him.
Okay.
But AI, I'm just one of those guys, like, every time I played against Chuck, when he get to the city, one of his boys will call me, and I end up in the club with him hanging out, you know what I'm saying, from city to city. And he lost a friend named Jamal a couple years ago, and that passed from cancer, and me and him was real close. And during that time, I stepped in, you know what I'm saying, and tried to help him out a lot. So we just became brothers doing the playing time.
Yeah, I was with him early in my big brother. I got traded with Chris Webber out to Philly early in my early 2000s, and Chuck gave me a car right off the whip or off the rip and told me if I needed. So it was just like, this is Allen Iverson. Like, just
He gave you a car?
to drive around.
What
'Cause I
car was
just got it was like one of the Mustangs. When the Mustangs first came out, the 2-door Mustangs, he let me push that thing for a couple months. Just whatever you need, bro, just let me know. I'm just like, damn.
Had that Applebee's popping, right?
Oh man,
No,
like,
TGIF. Friday.
What used to really be popping, bro, is we used to get off the plane at 2:30 in the morning. I wasn't playing, so I didn't give a fuck. But he would have limos for us to go to Atlantic City and go chill all night. You know what I mean? Have the penthouse, the Louis XIII. Like, how the fuck is all this free? I learned later that you had to give a little bit of money to the casino to get all that for, you know. But Chuck was just one of them rare dudes, like you said, that enjoyed life and then gave it his absolute all on that court. If people would see how he used to walk around on off days or in practice with big old elbows and hips all bruised up, and then as soon as that popcorn starts popping about 6:30, a different light turns on and he becomes an animal, man. So it was just
hard too. He loved hard. That's what people don't understand. You don't get people of that caliber that loves everybody in that genuine way. That's why it's kind of weird to people.
Yeah,
that's right. Salute the Bubba Chuck.
Yeah. That conversation is in the All the Smoke coffee table book, which is out right now. All the stars, all the stories, no apologies. Go get it.
That's right. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.